Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
What is it? 5:30?
It's 5:30.
We should be having tea.
We should be having tea, but instead we're going to talk about to you, Doctor Who.
To me?
No, to the audience at home.
Oh, right, okay.
Doctor Who, The Ghost Monument.
Yes.
Episode 2.
Before we do that, we ought to show off our new piece of
Okay, can I show
artwork
off our
from
new piece
Martin.
of artwork then?
Martin Holmes has got, let's see if that, he's done a Around the Archives cover based on the Ice Warriors. So he got us to pose, didn't he?
He did.
So we had to go upstairs.
Yes, and in the middle of posing, Martha fell off. Nearly fell off the window
yeah, Martha was hanging off the blind at one point
Yes.
with one
by one
one
sort
paw.
of claw. Silly cat you are, aren't you?
But yes,
She's on the floor, that's one talking to.
that's Round the Archives and the podcast of amiable chat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lovely Target Books
Mm.
sort of thing. So
Yes.
thank you very much to Martin
Yes, thank you, Martin.
for that. But we'll make use of that
Mm-hmm.
in due course.
Yes.
But the Ghost Monument then.
Yes.
So Warren won't join us today
No, because
because
he's
elsewhere,
not here.
and I don't think he's seen it yet. He
No,
said-
hasn't. When last time I messaged him, he hadn't seen it yet. So when
No.
he's seen it, he's going to let us know what he thinks and what he thinks of the new TARDIS.
Okay. But the first thing, finally get to see the title sequence.
Yes, the opening titles. And
Did you
it's-
like that?
I did. It's as you said, it's a very good modern reimagining of the Hartnell title sequence.
Well, Hartnell and Troughton.
and Troughton.
No
Yeah.
face, but the whole thing about this sort of point of light starting in the middle of the screen that then spreads out, is like the Hartnell like rocket trail thing.
Yes.
And the mirroring of it as well, and the way that it's symmetrical is very, very,
Yes.
very Hartnell-y, Troughton-y, Pertwee-y. So yes.
Tom Baker Reeves.
Oh yeah.
Tom
that
Baker
too.
Reeves.
But yeah,
It's Doctor Who-y.
and then of course the actual theme.
Yes.
Here, although we heard it at the end of,
We did. It's
Part one.
slightly different.
because you wrote a
Lovely.
little piece for the blog about
I
music
did.
today,
Yes.
didn't you?
Yes.
So
What I like and.
but what did you make of that as an episode overall then?
Yeah, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
I know there are a few people that didn't like it, but there's always a few people that don't like things.
Well, it's interesting, and it often seems to happen sort of with new Doctor Who, especially. But it does go back to the 20th century version of it, that you go from an Earth-based story into a space story.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
see that, this is like going from robot to the Ark in space, isn't it?
Or Unearthly Child to the Daleks.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. Or even, I guess, Castrovel to Forward to Doomsday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, people have sort of noted that this story feels a bit like an 80s story in some ways.
Yeah.
But it also feels a bit like the Keys of Marinus.
It does feel a bit like the Keys of Marinus because you're on a hostile planet that you can't touch the water and
it's this whole thing about creating an environment, isn't it, in which to have the adventure,
Yes.
which I think they pull off really well.
Yeah.
Because I said to you, that shot of that high shot sweeping around the spaceship is a real Star Wars shot,
is,
isn't it?
yeah,
You could see that.
yeah. And I did wonder how they did that, whether that's a CGI'd model shot.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
Yeah.
You really look like you've got a huge, great spaceship.
But I like how casual all of that was. None of it was done up as though it was like, here's the special shot of the episode. Because there's that thing about Trial of a Time Lord, that you start off with that wonderful model shot at the start, then everything else is a disappointment afterwards because it never reaches.
It never quite makes that level again.
This, you had very big wide shots of everything, but nothing felt as though it was especially showing off. The whole thing was of a consistent standard.
And it looks stunning again. It's making the most of the fact that it's in 14.9.
Yeah.
So you've got more
18.9.
18.9, sorry. And you've got more on show.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, I do wonder where the sort of underground stuff was filmed.
Yeah, I don't know if that was filmed in South Africa because it was very cold.
You
But
could
then,
see people's breath,
I
couldn't
would
you?
imagine sometimes, especially, I mean, I know it's not a desert, but it's, it's looks very arid where they film it. And the desert nights can be cold.
Yeah.
But I suspect that was probably a little bit
But that
closer
sort of
to home.
information will come out
It will come out, yes.
in
That'll be
in the weeks and months
It'll
ahead,
be in next month's DWM, because they'll have, as well as looking forward to the new next episodes, they'll look back at those episodes where they were filmed and everything.
And the nice thing is we already know the overnight figures, which are still holding above 7 million.
Yeah, 7.1 million.
So I reckon you're going to get high 8s or possibly even 9 million.
Yeah.
That was the thing. You know, episode 1 was the launch episode, and inevitably they're going to be curious people watching just to see how it is. Yeah. But the real test was
episode
how
2.
many people hung around for episode 2. And I'd be interested to know the breakdown. Obviously, you've lost some people. But how many new people have tuned in on the word of mouth
from the last episode?
From episode 1? Are there people now for whom this is the first episode that they've seen?
And again, you don't need to have seen any other episode of Doctor Who to get straight into this.
No.
You know,
there's a couple of references to last week.
Yeah.
You know,
which might make you go, oh, I'm going to have to go and watch that on iPlayer now to see
and
what
I do
happened.
like the line about the green police box in Sheffield. Our friend Helen knows that one very well, and I think has seen it. I've never seen it because I said, you know, we've never been to Sheffield.
Not been to Sheffield, no.
But yeah, I love the fact that the characters know what a police box is.
Yeah, because they are coming back, because we've got one near to us in Bosco.
Yeah, we've never gone to see it.
We must go see it sometime.
Yes. But how do you think the sort of regulars sort of coped in this new environment?
I liked it. I like the fact, and somebody said that Jodie Whittaker should watch out because Brian. Where did they get Brian from? Bradley Walsh. He's absolutely knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
He really is. Graham is, aside from the Doctor, the best character in it. And that's not to say that I don't like Ryan and Yaz, because I really do. But
what is it you like about him?
He's your everyman figure. He's your Ian Chesterton for this day and age.
Yeah.
Although he's not quite as heroic, possibly, because Ian Chesterton, you know, he goes off to look for Barbara in the Crusade. He's quite heroic. He's your sort of.
But he's coping.
Hero.
That's
but he's coping. He's not panicking.
I wouldn't.
No,
I'd be a mess.
You know, and he's trying to keep Ryan. Because obviously, and it was nice. I liked the fact they referred back to the last episode, and they referred back to the loss of Ryan's grandma.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of Doctor Who, that would have just been forgotten. That would have happened last week, and then everybody's forgotten that.
It's that time flight thing, isn't it? That you have a brief
mention
of what happened last week, and then you never you completely forget about it.
But I don't think they will. I think there'll be upcoming stories where, because I think Graham's character. Graham is trying to be everything to Ryan. He's trying to be his family. He's still trying to get him to call him Grandad.
Because they've said about, you know, not so much story arcs as character arcs. And I think I can guess where some of it might go.
Yeah.
And a few more details have been released today about what forthcoming episodes are. And I won't say anything, you know, because I don't want to spoil if people don't want to know.
We're looking forward to episode 4.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But episode 6 sounds interesting.
And episode 6 sounds very interesting. Yeah. And the thing I'm finding, I was thinking about this earlier on, is I'm liking all the shots of, particularly wherever they have seemed to have filmed for these first 2 episodes, it's quite windy.
Yeah.
And you're getting this thing that you don't get with any of the other Doctors, because like Peter Capaldi's hair is quite mad towards the end, but it doesn't. But Jodie's hair is moving, and you're getting it all over her face, and it's a real new, interesting look for the Doctor.
I bet when she's running, because the coat's very flappy.
Yeah, the coat flaps is why I love flappy. I've got a flappy cardigan on today,
but it's the first time we've sort of seen her in the costume running.
And she's great, and she's all huffing and puffing as well. I noticed.
Do you like that shot where she's running towards the TARDIS?
Yeah.
And the camera's up all high, and it reminded me a bit about what you said about, is it Lord of the Rings? Who is it you said runs like a kid?
It's Aragon. When they like the beacons, when Gandalf gets Pippin to light the beacons, and all the beacons get lit, and there's a scene where he's running, Gondor is calling, Gondor, and he's doing something with his arms.
Yeah.
Where it's like when children run, when adults run, you might do this.
Yeah.
I don't run, so I don't do it. But kids sort of flap their arms about, don't they, when they run? And that's what Aragon's doing, and that's what she's doing a bit, isn't it? Flapping her arms.
It's just that single shot made me think of that, because I know you always comment on that.
Yeah. Well, it makes me grin, because he's just like he's all excited, because, you know, they're going to go and help Gondor.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Gondor technically hasn't called, it was Gandalf.
Yeah.
But
And then what about the TARDIS as well?
I like the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I'm going to reserve judgment until I've seen it a bit more.
Yeah.
Because it's a little dark.
I was going to
still
say,
at the
I
moment.
couldn't see, I mean, we were watching it, on the proper time and it wasn't sunny, and
No.
I couldn't quite see all the details.
Hello, Martha.
I like elements of it.
Yes.
I'm slightly concerned there aren't enough controls for my liking.
Okay.
The console does seem to be a little bit bare.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like the fact it dispenses custard creams.
well, better than the Hartnell food machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now this is the question: is it custard creams, or is it custard creams that taste of anything like bacon and eggs? So is it like an updated
It's
food
an updated
machine?
food
that
machine.
If
Custard
you ask
creams-
for bacon and eggs, you still get custard creams.
Possibly.
I like the idea that
Yeah.
it's that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's occurred to anybody, but I
And
think that would be a wonderful joke.
Yeah. I like the little porch. I know some people weren't keen on it
Yeah.
because you've got this little sort of vestibule now. Because you've got the TARDIS doors, and then you've got like the side of the TARDIS, the side of the box, and then you come into the console room, and you've got the little police box sign up
Yeah.
inside as well. So, but then I mean, people were sort of complaining about that. But you've always had a bit of a gap between the front
Yeah.
doors, apart from in the early.
Well,
Harvest
I was going to say,
Hartnell
yeah,
TARDIS.
some Hartnell stories it opens directly. I think
Yeah.
Evening Colony in Space.
Yeah, it opens
It
directly.
opens directly. Other things like Claws of Axos
Yeah,
or
there's a
the
little
Seeds
gap,
of Death.
yeah.
There's a sort of mirrored thing,
Yeah.
or some roundels or something.
There's
So
no actual
there's no
continuity. No.
There's no consistency from week to week in Old Who. So I really don't mind what the
No.
interface is. You can change it as much as you like, and I don't mind anyway.
And the little TARDIS is quite cute. The little
A little
crystal
spinny-
TARDIS.
spinny thing.
Yeah, that lights up and spins.
So if the actual chameleon circuit worked, that would change then. Presumably
Yes.
that's a representation of the outside of the TARDIS.
Yeah, that's sort of telling the pilot or the inhabitants inside
What
it
it's
looks
materialised at.
Yeah.
So if it was a pyramid.
Like. Yeah,
you
it'd be a
know.
pyramid.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Because I suppose, how would you know? If you landed somewhere, you'd have to go outside and look to see
Yeah.
what it was.
See what it looked like. Oh, it's a
All right.
yeah, it's a column today or whatever.
But another fairly simple story overall,
Yeah.
I thought, and I think that's what we're generally going for. Because have you had any response from sort of people at work or your family
I had
or
response from people at work about last week's episode.
Yeah.
That it was one or two people didn't enjoy it because of the teeth. Excuse me, in the Stenzer's face,
Oh, right.
Tim Shaw's face. But one other person who has watched Doctor Who but doesn't necessarily watch it regularly,
anything?
watched it, liked it, and will be watching the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So
Do you? I was going to say, have some people come on board again? Do
I
you
think possibly, yeah.
I mean, I don't really know because,
Yeah.
of course, most of our sort of friends on Facebook or Twitter are
Doctor Who fans,
fans
yeah.
anyway. That's the thing. I'm sort of interested in people coming to it
Yeah.
fresh, and in our blog there is a chap that. Last week's episode was the first ever episode of Doctor Who that he watched, and he did a reaction to it.
Yes.
And
And
I'm
he
very,
liked it,
I'm
yeah.
very interested in what he's going
See
to
what he said
say
for episode
about this one.
Yeah. I mean, we
so-
should say about the guest cast as
Yeah.
well, because it's not a huge guest cast.
No,
You've only got
no.
3 actors and a voiceover.
Yeah,
But you've got Art Malik,
yeah.
and his character's not at all nice.
Oh,
And he's sort of playing it quite sort of slimily, I
Yeah.
think.
okay.
Yeah.
What about t'other two then?
The other two, I've always liked. I mean, I've seen sort of Susan Lynch. She's obviously the female character. She's a very interesting actress. And I noticed that Sean Dooley, who's the other character, Epso, he was saying on Twitter last night, this is the first thing he can sit down with his kids and watch,
All right.
and they can watch it with him.
Because I don't really know anything that they've done.
Well,
so-
Sean Dooley's been in Broadchurch.
yeah.
And Susan Lynch, her first breakout role was in Cracker
All right.
with
okay.
Chris Eccleston.
All right. Okay.
She was one of the villains, and he was.
I think that's
the
what helped for me, and
Yeah.
that I wasn't focusing on them as star actors or anything like that. They were just the characters to
Yeah.
me. So again, it's that thing about this is, You know, I probably have seen him in other stuff,
Yes.
but what have you just done to
So
Martha?
Martha wants, she's trying to get under the blanket. She's got a blanket on my lap. She's trying to get under it. So I thought I'd lift it up for her, but she's still not getting under it. So I'll let her get on with it.
Okay, fine.
I think I'm in her seat, to be honest.
All right, you got to move in a
Yeah.
minute. I see.
So,
But yeah, I enjoyed that certainly, and
Yes.
yeah, I like the world building that was going on here. That just with a few lines, you're sketching in
Mhm.
a planet and its history as well.
Yes.
I quite like the idea of a race, and it's ironic considering we've just done wacky races in Round the Archives.
Yeah.
So this is like wacky space races,
yes,
isn't it?
wacky space races.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, quite in some ways quite a minimal story, just in terms of cast
Yeah,
and all that.
I think
But-
again, it's just to introduce the Doctor and the companions to new worlds.
Yeah.
So you don't need a big, complicated story. You want quite a simple story.
Because what I'm quite interested in is how this season is structured. So of course next week you've got your historical story.
Yes.
That's because as I said, this is a very familiar pattern. That,
Yes.
You know, modern day space history.
Historical.
Yeah,
That's
in
how
that order.
Most series of new Doctor Who.
So we're
have
still
done.
at the moment. It's still quite a familiar
Yeah.
structure, and I'd be interested to see where we're going, sort of mid to late season, whether you're going to deviate from what is, you know, a fairly established
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
So yeah, in some ways, this is not unfamiliar.
No.
Um,
No. And we should just say as well, sort of monstery things in it, the sort of remnants they're labelled as in
Yeah.
the thing, the sort of materially things. Somebody said that they weren't very scary, but I
Yeah.
actually think they were quite. If you were a kid
Yeah.
and you saw that, especially the bit where it's sort of crawling up him, up episode, and it's sort of like a snake, isn't it? Sort of like a rattlesnake. All right, thank you. So I think it's quite scary. Yes.
So if your blanket attacks you,
Yes.
yeah.
No.
So yeah, don't have blankets on you when you're watching Doctor Who.
No, because it might attack you,
Yeah.
and you might get scared. But yeah.
Well, that's the Blu-ray range extras done for
Yes.
then, isn't it? With
Yeah.
everybody with their blanket watching
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
So, but yes, it was an interesting episode. I look forward to the next episode.
Yeah. Okay.
And to learning more about Rosa Parks, who I know a bit more about today because I looked up, but
Yeah.
I knew shamefully little about before.
I was going to say, listening to the Carl Pilkington piece about it probably didn't
really help. No. I learnt more from the Horrible Histories I Sat on the Bus song.
Oh, right, that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, we'll say ta-ra and see you again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.